Phyllis Summers had always been good at reading people. It was her survival skill. Whether navigating corporate wars at Jabot or tangled affairs of the heart, she could usually see trouble long before it arrived at her doorstep. But when Kane Ashby showed up at her door late one evening, his eyes dark and unsettled, she realized she hadn't anticipated this particular storm. "Phyllis," he said, voice low and urgent, "I need to talk to you. And it's not business." That sentence alone set her on edge. Kane rarely blurred lines between personal confessions and professional dealings. Yet tonight, he looked like a man carrying a ghost on his shoulders. The haunting of Kane Ashby. For weeks, Kane had been unraveling silently. The news of his father Colin's death had hit him like a freight train. Their relationship had never been simple. Colin was manipulative, dangerous, and yet somehow endlessly charismatic. Kane had spent most of his life trying to separate himself from the man's criminal legacy. But now, memories kept crashing back with a vengeance. Earlier that day, Kane had been sitting alone at society, nursing a glass of bourbon, when an old conversation with Colin replayed in his mind. "You'll never outrun me, son," Colin had said with that half-smirk, the one that could chill blood. "You may pretend to be better, but my blood runs in your veins. One day, you'll understand that." Kane had pushed the memory away, but later, another moment returned with even more sting. "Family is loyalty, Kane. Everything else is negotiable." And now, standing at Phyllis's door, Kane wasn't sure if he was there to escape those words or to finally face them. A surprising confession. Phyllis crossed her arms, studying him. "You look like you've seen a ghost. Or maybe you're one. What's going on?" "I keep hearing him," Kane admitted. "My father. His voice won't leave me alone. It's like every decision I've made is being dragged into question." Phyllis softened, just slightly. She knew better than most what it was like to be haunted by choices, by men, by the versions of herself she'd left behind. "So why come to me?" she asked. Kane's eyes flickered with something raw, something almost dangerous. "Because you don't let people hide. You call them out. You don't sugarcoat the truth. I need that right now." Phyllis tilted her head, intrigued despite herself. Kane was usually composed, cautious. Tonight, he was stripped bare, rocking Phyllis's world. Over a bottle of wine, Kane began to unravel his past, his last conversations with Colin, the manipulation, the threats wrapped in fatherly advice. Each memory seemed to shake him, and Phyllis found herself drawn closer, pulled into his confession like a moth to flame. "He told me once that love is just a tool," Kane said bitterly. "That you use it to get what you want. And the worst part? I wonder if I believed him. If that's why every relationship I've had has blown up in my face." Phyllis nearly laughed, though not at him. "Kane, if love is a tool, then I've been hammering nails into the wrong walls my whole life. Trust me, you're not the only one." For a long moment, silence stretched between them, heavy with recognition. Two people scarred by love, both wondering if they'd been shaped, or cursed, by the voices of those who came before them. Then Kane leaned closer, eyes burning. "What if he was right, Phyllis? What if no matter how hard I try, I'll always be my father's son? What if I hurt everyone who gets close to me?" Phyllis felt the floor tilt beneath her. The raw honesty in his voice wasn't something she was used to hearing, not from Kane, not from anyone. And in that moment, she wasn't sure whether she wanted to push him away or pull him closer. "You're not Colin," she whispered, almost against her will. "You're you. And maybe that scares you more than anything else, that you can't hide behind him forever." The sparks neither saw coming. What happened next was reckless, inevitable, and something neither could take back. Kane kissed her. Not a soft, hesitant kiss, but one that carried years of repression, anger, and longing. Phyllis should have shoved him away. Instead, she kissed him back, fire answering fire. It wasn't love, at least not yet. It was survival. It was two people drowning, grabbing at each other just to stay afloat. When they finally pulled apart, breathless, Phyllis let out a shaky laugh. "Well, Ashby, you sure know how to rock a woman's world." But don't think for a second this means I'm fixing you. Kane's expression was unreadable, a mix of relief and fear. I don't want you to fix me. I don't want to be alone with his voice anymore. Phyllis knew she should tell him this was a mistake, that it would end badly, that Colin's ghost wasn't something she wanted in her bed or her heart. But the truth was, she was already hooked. A dangerous alliance. The days that followed only deepened the storm. Kane couldn't stop talking about Colin, about the money, the schemes, the secrets that still hadn't been uncovered. Phyllis, ever the strategist, realized Kane wasn't just battling grief. He was on the verge of uncovering something big. And she wanted in. You said your father believed everything was negotiable, she reminded him one night. Maybe he left behind more than just memories. Maybe he left you a puzzle. And if there's one thing I'm good at, it's solving puzzles. Kane hesitated, torn between fear and intrigue. Colin's legacy was a curse, but what if it was also an opportunity? The partnership between Kane and Phyllis was explosive, both in passion and ambition. They began digging into Colin's past together, chasing clues he might have left behind. The closer they got, the more dangerous it became, and the harder it was to deny their chemistry. The backfire waiting ahead. What Kane didn't realize was that by opening up to Phyllis, he'd set off a chain reaction. His father's shadow wasn't done with him. Colin's secrets had ripple effects, ones that reached far beyond Kane's personal struggles. And Phyllis, always chasing the thrill, the risk, was about to find herself entangled in something darker than she expected. For now, though, Kane had given her something she hadn't felt in a long time: unpredictability. He rocked her world, not just with passion, but with the dangerous reminder that the past never stays buried. And as she watched him brood by her window, haunted by Colin's words, yet clinging to her presence, Phyllis realized something she wouldn't dare say aloud. Kane Ashby might just be the most dangerous man she'd ever let into her life.